Update you as we learn more.
Let's get to an update now on the search for a missing CPS teacher. Linda Brown hasn't been seen for 6 days.
Leslie Moreno has been closely following this story. She's live by the lakefront where search efforts are intensifying. What's the latest there, Leslie?
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, family and friends have been searching for Linda all day. Police say she was last seen in this area here. They say she was walking past this bridge here towards the lake. This is along South Lake Park Avenue. Her vehicle was also found not too far from here as well. Police just released this image here on your screen. They say it's the last time she was seen. Police say Linda Brown's car was found parked near 35th Street in Lake Park Avenue. Surveillance video shows Linda getting out of her vehicle around 3 a.m. on Saturday and walking across the pedestrian bridge. From there, police say canines tracked her scent straight towards the lakefront. This morning, family and volunteers have been searching, focusing on 31st Street Beach and the pedestrian bridge. Linda has been missing since Saturday. Family members say she's dealt with mental health challenges but has never disappeared like this before. Her husband says it's been an extremely difficult week for him. He continues urging the public to focus on helping, not speculating.
Just trying to make it. That's all. We got family support, friend support. They've been texting me, helping me. So I'm getting the support I need from friends and family. So I'm just hanging in there trying to find my wife. I'm thankful for everyone helping, support to find my wife. It's great. You know, I wish we had more people to cover more ground, but, you know, this is a good start. If you want to come join, please come help.
Family has been spreading the word and sharing this flyer there on your screen with areas of focus and some tips for those who can help search. If you'd like to help, we'll have all those details on fox32chicago.com. Crews are wrapping up for the evening here, but family says they'll be back out here tomorrow. Leslie Moreno, Fox Chicago.
Last night, we had nearly 2 inches of rain falling in Chicago in just a matter of hours. Just look how big of a mess today in Ryan was. Chicago actually broke a 50-year record for the most rain we've had in a single day in January.
And that led to widespread flooding. Brett Bugansky is live in Lincoln Square. And Brett, that area got hit pretty hard last night.
It certainly did. So we're at the intersection of Leland and Maplewood. Big improvement over the last few hours. Where I'm standing had about 6 to 8 inches of water. You couldn't even see the storm drain because it was covered with leaves, mud, and other debris. But this afternoon, some neighbors took matters into their own hands. Take a look. You're seeing video from Gustavo Chavez, who shoveled piles of leaves and mud, just all the mess that was covering the storm drain here. And once he started doing that, the water started to recede. It was a really big improvement in this area. And he was telling me that his family has to do this a lot because leaves and mud block the storm drains around this time of the year. So last night, they described this area looking more like a lake. After the city completes its fall street sweeping cycle, Chavez told me no one from the city comes out to help them. That's why they said they are constantly having to clean up their own streets themselves.
Is it always just leaves and debris covering the storm drains?
Yes. Most of the time when it rains and pours, we come out here and we do our best to make sure that all the drains are running, everything is draining, because most of the time we are parked in front of our house. So we do our best to try to maintain everything. But after seeing this, I see it as a disaster.
You can see how big of a mess it was, so I reached out to 47th Ward Alderman Matt Martin's office for an on-camera interview. A spokesperson told me he wasn't available, but his office told me this is a citywide problem and that he too was unclogging drains and raking leaves around midnight. He said the leaves are falling later in the year, which is why he feels the city needs to make some adjustments. And he says that includes using the Office of Inspector General to audit the city's street sweeping program. And Martin also had another solution, which was to get some of the street sweepers in this area. And he said today and all week long, there's going to be street sweepers in this area. Now, we've been out here for a few hours. We have not seen them, but be sure to tune in tonight at 9 o'clock. We have much more about this flooding problem here in Lincoln Square. That's where we're live tonight. Brett Bugansky, Fox Chicago.
It won't be the rain the Bears fans and the Bears need to worry about tomorrow, but the snow.
Cassie Carlson will be there. Cassie, here's the question. Are you ready? And most importantly, do you think the Bears are ready?
I think the entire city of Chicago is ready for this matchup. Third time's a charm. The last 4 meetings between the Bears and Packers have come down to the final play. And tomorrow night may be no different after they split the regular season. The Bears are urging all the fans at Soldier Field to please be quiet when the offense is on the field. Make all that noise when Jordan Love is on the field. Now, Packers players not staying quiet about their feelings towards the Bears, saying it would mean a lot to end their season, while the Bears are staying more tight-lipped about the matchup and emphasizing their focus on fundamentals as they go into round 3.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, you get to play your division rival 3 times in the playoffs for all the marbles. You can't write it up any other way than that. So it'll be fun to go out there and play against them again.
The players in the Packers locker room are kind of talking a big game. I don't know if you've heard some of it, but as you enter it knowing it's going to be emotional, how do you keep your mind steady going into Saturday night?
I think for anybody in this locker room, I think for us, we've talked about just doing our 111 and just handling the game how it's supposed to, playing within the rules, and just being physical, being us, playing our brand of football. I don't think any of us are looking into it any more than what it is. It's a football game against the Packers, Saturday night, playoffs, wild card. So we're just trying to go get the win.
Well, Fox Chicago is your destination for the Bears and Packers Saturday night. Our coverage begins early in the day with Bears Game Day live at 12:30. NFL doubleheader begins at 3:30. And no matter what happens over the Rams and Panthers game, we will bring you kickoff of Bears and Packers at 7 o'clock. Then make sure to stay with us after the game for full reaction and analysis. We have plenty more coming up later in sports as we give you the best quotes from Hallis Hall this week in preparation for the Packers and a special 1-hour Chicago Sports Tonight playoff preview from 6 to 7. And 9:30 to 10:30 right here on Fox Chicago, your home of the Bears. Terrence and Tia.
All right, Cassie, thank you. So, Mark, what kind of Bears game weather are we walking into tomorrow?
Well, we're going to be pretty close to the freezing mark about kickoff. It's going to be pretty blustery. We're going to have some winds mostly out of the west at around 15 to 20 to 30 miles per hour. And I can't totally rule out some snow showers during the game. Now, it's not going to be an intense snow, I don't believe, but a couple of snow showers, probably about a 40-45% chance of some isolated snow showers during game time. Now, today, we started out early this morning in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. Those clouds have moved out and then moved back in. The clouds that were producing the rainfall early this morning when we picked up that heavy rainfall. Looking down towards the south and south end of the lake, we have good visibility. Temperatures after hitting these very warm temperatures, very mild January temperatures. Of course, that was probably when you were sleeping. We've slipped back down into the 40s with 30s off into the far north and northwest suburbs. Tonight, we're down to around 32, up to about 35 tomorrow. And then a little bit warmer for Monday and Tuesday before we're back into the 20s later this week.
All right, Mark, thanks a bunch. A 17-year-old girl in Zion is in critical condition after police say she was stabbed by a classmate at school. Police say this all happened at Zion Benton Township High School this morning. The suspect, also a 17-year-old girl, ran away after the alleged stabbing, but police found her fast and took her into custody. Charges are now pending. The district says this was an isolated incident between 2 girls and there is no ongoing threat. Classes at St. Ignatius College Prep were canceled today after an AI-generated bomb threat forced a late-night sweep of the school. The threat was unfounded, but school was still canceled today out of an abundance of caution.
An attorney accused of murdering his wife in the South Loop will be extradited to Illinois. Adam Beckerink is currently serving time in Michigan for a separate domestic abuse case. A Cook County judge issued an arrest warrant in October for first-degree murder. Prosecutors accused Beckerink of throwing his wife, Kaylin Tracy, down the stairwell of a high-rise in the South Loop back in 2024, where he lived. Tracy was 36.
A major drug bust at O'Hare Airport. Officials found more than 48 pounds of suspected cocaine. The DEA got a tip about 2 women flying in from L.A. Monday. Those women, ages 20 and 27, consented to having their checked bags searched after a positive sniff from a canine. One woman had about 28 pounds of suspected cocaine. The rest was found in the second woman's bag. Both are now facing several charges.
Well, protests across the country are expected into the weekend after back-to-back shootings involving ICE agents in Minnesota and Oregon.
Minneapolis police removed barriers and opened streets today. This is 2 days after Renee Nicole Good, a mother of 3, was shot and killed by a federal agent. The Trump administration claimed the officer shot in self-defense, but protesters and some lawmakers argue videos of the incident from different angles tell a far more complicated story. Policing experts are saying some of the choices the officer made defy practices nearly every law enforcement agency has followed for decades.
In Portland, Border Patrol agents shot and wounded 2 people in a car. This was yesterday. DHS is also saying this was self-defense, claiming the agent fired after they tried to run them over during a targeted vehicle stop. Those 2 people have been identified by DHS as Venezuelans, who they say came into the country illegally. The agency also claims one of them is a suspected member of a gang. City officials have called on ICE to end all operations until a full investigation is completed.
We're going to have much more on the deadly ICE shooting right after this break.
We're live in Minneapolis with new video from the officer that fired the shots.
And Chicago's mayoral race is getting more crowded. A new candidate formally announces his campaign run.
You're watching the home of the Bears.
Minneapolis leaders are doubling down on their calls for federal immigration officers to leave their city after an ICE officer shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good there on Wednesday. The Department of Homeland Security is defending the officer, saying he acted in self-defense after Good tried using her car as a weapon. Asher Red is in Minneapolis right now. And Asher, protesters are out for a 3rd straight day.
And Tia, law enforcement have arrested several protesters since all this began on Wednesday. Fox obtained this cell phone video by the officer who shot Renee Nicole Good.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the Get out of the car.
Oh!
The FBI is leading the shooting probe, and they're not sharing any evidence with Minnesota investigators. Many state and local leaders are criticizing that decision because they don't think the feds can be trusted to stay impartial. But the DOJ says it's simply a matter of jurisdiction. Mayor Jacob Fry has been facing sharp criticism from Republicans after he told ICE to, quote, get the F out of the city on Wednesday. But today, he stood by those comments and called on the feds to work with state investigators.
I mean, come on, guys. You know, I dropped an F-bomb. I dropped an F-bomb. They killed somebody. Which one of those is more inflammatory? I'm going with the killing somebody. And if you got nothing to hide from, then don't hide from it. Include local experts in the process. We got nothing to hide from here. All we want in Minneapolis is justice and the truth.
Some state and local leaders say the ICE officer who shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good should be arrested and charged. Homeland Security officials claim Good was part of an ICE watch group that trains people to follow and monitor federal immigration operations. They also say she was blocking ICE vehicles with her car.
At the time of this incident, our law enforcement was outside of their vehicle trying to get their vehicle out of the snow when she started blocking our law enforcement, harassing them.
And DHS says they're trying to find out who is funding these ICE watch groups. The agency says that these groups exist all over the country and they want to know who's responsible for training them. Back to you.
All right, Asher, thank you so much. Calls are growing tonight to impeach DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Today, Illinois Representative Sean Casten pushed for impeachment proceedings. He spoke on the House floor yesterday, demanding Republicans take accountability for the deadly shooting in Minneapolis.
How do we prevent ourselves from descending to their monstrous depths? I'll tell you how. By prosecuting the murderer with the due process that he denied Renee. And by demanding accountability up the entire chain of command. Because our job is not to bear their sins. Our job is to make sure this never, ever happens again.
Another Illinois representative, Robin Kelly, is authoring articles of impeachment against Noem, calling her incompetent and a liar. Illinois is suing the Trump administration again, this time to get access to $1 billion in federal child care funding the administration has blocked. Illinois joining now California, Colorado, Minnesota, and New York in the legal action against the Trump administration. This week, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced it would freeze funding in those states over alleged concerns about fraud and misuse of the money. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin claims the Trump administration is retaliating against Democratic-led states and that tens of thousands of low-income families in the state will now suffer.
Is there evidence of fraud? No. But there is evidence of the fact that in the last presidential election, our state did not vote for this president, but voted for another candidate. And so now President Trump has said the children must pay the price.
This morning, State Representative LaShawn Ford held a demonstration with families on Chicago's near north side, calling for the funding to return. One parent says not having the funding would be devastating for their child.
I'm just asking if y'all could just, if you could just unfreeze this money, because if I can't work, I can't feed them. If I can't work, I can't do the necessary things that need to get done for me to be a father in his life, which is going to put me at risk, which you going to push me to the streets.
The Trump administration responded to this lawsuit, saying these Democratic-led states are less focused on reducing fraud and more focused on partisan political stunts. In Venezuela, political prisoners are being released and oil policy is being realigned. President Trump says the Venezuelan government is giving the U.S. exactly what it wants, and that's expected to continue at least for now. But U.S. forces in the area remain on alert, and today they seized another Venezuelan-linked oil tanker in the Caribbean. It comes as the president meets with the heads of the 14 biggest American oil companies at the White House. He's trying to get them to invest $100 billion into Venezuela's oil market, but Big Oil says it wants guarantees their money won't be stolen.
They lost billions of dollars in investments when the regime stole those assets. They stole those leases. They stole private property.
The president says he will meet with the Venezuelan opposition leaders next week at the White House. Venezuela is not the only foreign challenge facing President Trump. He's also warning Iran to stop cracking down on protests started 2 weeks ago. Those protests are fueled by high inflation and economic instability. At least 60 people have died. And today, Iran's supreme leader hinted a bigger crackdown is coming. He's now referring to the protesters as, quote, terrorists, and says President Trump is the person to blame.
People came and did damage to their own buildings, ruining their own streets in order to make the president of another country happy.
A crackdown by security forces would be a direct challenge to President Trump, who has said he'll support the demonstrators as long as they remain peaceful. Iran has cut off access to the internet and also international phone calls, and it's unclear when those services will be restored. All right, let's bring it on back home right now and talk about the forecast. You know, Mark, a lot of people looking forward to the weekend. And I know we talked about some snow showers tomorrow. What about Sunday? Are we free and clear there?
You know, Sunday, I think we're going to see more sunshine. It's going to be a little bit of a quieter day, but we're still going to be back right around the low 30s, which, you know, for this part of January is about normal. So we're pretty solid. A couple of areas of snow dancing around the map tonight. First of all, we've got a little bit of light snowfall across Minnesota through the Dakotas, another area out to our west, out over Kansas. And we have a disturbance that'll be swinging through here overnight tonight, bringing us a shot of rain at first, and then some kind of wet, sloppy snow showers, some slushy snow. We could see up to an inch of accumulation in some areas, but, you know, with temperatures tomorrow at or above freezing, I don't expect to see much of that sticking around, at least on the busy streets. Winds are pretty light right now, but they will pick up as we go throughout the day tomorrow, and our wind chills will drop tomorrow. Even though we'll have daytime highs tomorrow right around the freezing mark, maybe 33, 34, even 35 degrees. With those winds that'll be gusting up to 30 miles per hour, it'll feel more like the teens for a good portion of the day. So kind of a blustery, raw edge to the day. Overnight tonight, those temperatures not falling far, down to around 32 to 33 degrees overnight tonight. So our temperatures remaining constant with a little bit of mixed precip coming in overnight tonight and again tomorrow. More on the game day forecast and the extended outlook coming up.
Here come the lucky ones.
The man accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO was back in court today.
Luigi Mangione's attorneys are pushing to throw out the death penalty in the federal case against him. They argue the amount of pretrial publicity over his alleged murder of Brian Thompson makes it difficult for him to get a fair trial. Prosecutors say those concerns can be addressed by carefully vetting potential jurors. The judge held off on making a ruling, but said his potential trial could start sometime in September.
Look at this. The truck gets tangled up in power lines for several hours. The front of the truck was hanging in the air. This all happened in Washington State. Troopers say the weather knocked down the power line. The woman drove across the down power lines, which caused her to get tangled. Took crew 7 hours to get the truck and the driver down. Thank goodness she was not hurt.
New Jersey is banning cell phones in school classrooms. The governor says the move will help remove distractions and help students focus on learning. The kids, they're not happy, but parents are delighted.
I just think phones are a distraction. We didn't have phones at some point, and we all survived, and we were okay. But I do like the fact that they can get to their locker and use them if they need to call home for an emergency.
The governor compared this new law to other life-changing laws over the years, like cars coming equipped with seatbelts and prohibiting smoking on airplanes.
A man in L.A. has finally kicked out an unwanted guest. A 500-pound bear has been living in a crawl space under his house for more than a month. Ken noticed damage to his home appeared to be caused by an animal, so he set up a surveillance camera and saw the bear squeezing his way into the area. Nothing worked to get the bear to leave until a nonprofit specializing in bear removal got involved. The crew fired paintballs into the crawl space to get the bear out.
The bumps in the middle of the night and turning over and just all the damage underneath, and I couldn't do anything about it until he was out.
Go! The bear did try coming back at night, but the crew planned for that. They put down an electric mat that would give the bear a little shock, and he left.
Well, check out this couple transforming a parking spot into their living room in Lexington, Kentucky. You can see the woman bundling up with blankets. They eventually drove off, and it looks like the man is steering with the table. It took a while to turn towards the street, giving the cameraman more time to show off the Supreme sofa, which actually has some solid speed. The woman says the couch can reach at least 30 miles per hour.
There's a bakery in New York City going viral for its colossal cannoli. Look at this thing. It's a giant pastry shell stuffed with dozens of smaller cannolis. Then they put even more cream in it. Weighs a whopping 5 pounds. This pastry shop goes old school to make it, running the dough through a 100-year-old roller. Makers that date back to the World War I and an oven from the 1940s.
Wow, learn something new every day. Well, still ahead on the news at 5. After every Bears win, there's a player that gets the city really hyped up.
We're also highlighting some former Bears that are helping out the community.
Now at the bottom of the hour, it's not just good, better, best. There's another Bears mantra paying homage to the city and its people.
From the 50s and rain back to the freezing cold, the Bears game could look more like a snow globe tomorrow.
First, Illinois Congressman Mike Quigley makes it official. He's running for mayor of Chicago.
Political reporter Perry Schutz was there for the announcement. He's here to catch us up.
Tia and Terrence, that's the third person now declaring they are running for mayor, and some say going from the halls of Congress to the 5th floor of City Hall is a promotion, a big one maybe. And it's when Congressman Quigley makes official. He's seeking, and the city is in crisis, he says, even more so than the federal government, needs a pro-growth, pro-business mayor to turn its fortunes around.
First thing we got to do is build, baby, build. And we can't tax our way out of it, but we need to start growing our way out of it. We need a pro-business, pro-development mayor, right? The city's population's down 1 million from what it was the turn of the last century. We can't begin to overcome our financial problems unless we have more people to grow this city.
Now, Quigley joins two others who have officially declared: Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas and Northside entrepreneur Joe Holberg. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson, he's still mulling a decision to run for a second term, and others like Comptroller Susana Mendoza and Secretary of State Alexi Janulius, they're considering getting in as well. Now, Quigley served as Cook County Commissioner until 2008. Then he sought and retained his current Northside seat in the House. He says crime might be down in the city, but residents don't feel safe enough, and that the fix for Chicago's dismal finances will have to require structural cleaning of government and a complete rebuild.
Some of this is stuff that's very doable. Consolidating some of the pension funds, that's succeeded elsewhere. But I also think we sit down with our union partners and say, we are facing insolvency. No one can dictate to you what we do and how we do it. And they need to be treated with the respect that they have earned. But if we don't do this together, we're all going to meet in bankruptcy court together. And the fact is, Chicago can't file for bankruptcy.
Now, here's a rub. Quigley's also running for his seat in Congress. That primary is in March. Then the general election November, then the mayoral election. The primary is February 23rd, 2027. He can legally run for both offices. He said he would rather keep running than step down to run for mayor full time. And he grew up in Chicago, Tia and Terrence, as a diehard Cubs fan, but he informed me today he's also a Packers fan.
I don't even know how that works, but okay.
That would be strange.
I'm just being honest.
No comment.
It happens.
No comment. We'll get him a trees grader hat, I guess. I don't know.
No, we won't.
Mark Stroh, this is not a put the coat away type weekend, is it?
No, in fact, you may not have been going to the closet that often here over the last couple of days, especially if you're up early this morning when we hit 60 degrees. But those temperatures have come back down to earth now. We are pretty much in the 40s now, going into the 30s overnight tonight. We'll have some rainfall developing overnight tonight. Some of that rain could develop into some snow shower action. It's going to be very sloppy, wet snow as we head towards the morning. And then as we go towards the evening tomorrow night, those temperatures around kickoff time for the football game falling back down into the 30s. So it'll be blustery and a little bit, you know, on edge tomorrow, a little bit uncomfortable, especially around the lake. Again, only in the low 30s, which is not horrible for January, but with those winds gusting at times 25, even 30 miles per hour, it'll feel more like the teens and maybe even at times the single digits. Beyond that, we do warm right back up. On Monday, 41 degrees, and we're in the 40s again on Tuesday before tumbling back down Wednesday, about normal. And on Thursday, we're actually chilling back down into the 20s, one of the coldest readings for the entire 7-day forecast, which still isn't that bad. Here's a look at what's going on overnight tonight. We have some rainfall at first. Again, this is very late tonight into the early morning hours. And then a shot of snowfall in the morning. Again, light slushy snow. And then game time, here comes another little lobe of some scattered snow showers. Not quite as comprehensive as in the morning, but still a factor perhaps in the game tomorrow night.
Have you ever seen this house in Rogers Park as the pastel color Victorian home? It's pretty hard to miss. The couple Joe and Ricky bought it back in 2022. They've been making renovations to what they call the Candyland house ever since. Well, it is on HGTV's show, Ugliest House in America. The host, Retta, tours a couple different homes and picks one to give $150,000 to for renovations. We spoke with Ricky on Chicago Live. He talked about what it was like to get the call to be on the show.
We were talking to them, and we would ask them, "Oh, so what show is this for?" And they would breeze past it and just go like, "Oh yeah," and so the camera crew would be there, and then we'd be on TV, and we'd for what show? Yeah, eventually she just goes, "Well, not to cause any offense, because I'm sure you love your home, but it's called the ugliest house in America. But you do get a chance at winning a renovation." We were like, "You know what? For a chance at a renovation, you can call me ugly. That's okay."
The couple is promising to keep the charm to the home if they win the money. A teen in Chicago in cancer treatment got a life-changing surprise at school, and the person delivering it was a surprise too. This happened at Simeon in the middle of a regular school day. Guests walked in without warning, and it was Bulls legend Derrick Rose. The surprises did not stop there. Delvin McGee is 15. He's in treatment for stage 2 lymphoma. D. Rose invited Elvin and his family to travel with the Bulls. Now, this opens up a world that has felt very small for him lately. You could see it took him a second to even process what was happening.
I didn't even know that was him at first.
You had to look again?
Yeah, I was like, what, shorty? It mean a lot to me. I ain't never been out of town.
This is the full road trip, plane, hotel, game night next Friday in Brooklyn, Bulls and Nets. After every Bears win, fans have heard head coach Ben Johnson's chant, good, better, best, but it's not the only slogan that's getting players fired up.
Another rallying cry echoing through the locker room comes straight from Chicago's culture. It's Chicago.
If you don't know, now you know. It's Chicago, yeah!
I had to make this official, so I pulled up on Tremaine. We had to let y'all know. It's Chicago! Yeah!
Yeah, don't get it twisted. The phrase was created by Chicago native DJ Ferris, who recently spent time with Bears linebacker Tremaine Edmonds after fans on social media pointed out the slogan's origins. The phrase traces back to Kanye West. DJ Ferris originally recorded that line as an outro for Kanye's song Cold. Kanye later used it in a remix on another song, and it took off. Ferris began using This Is Chicago as a signature drop in his DJ sets. Actually, it was like, This Chicago, and it quickly spread through concerts, events, and now professional sports. It's morphed into It's Chicago.
People took it to say it's Chicago. It's actually this Chicago. This Chicago. That's actually what it is, but it's okay. You know, people, they know where it came from. It actually started, I was working with Kanye West. Ooh, being the genius that Kanye was, it was so infectious when I heard it. So I went back and I got my vocals and I took that one part out. So I'm gonna make this my drop. So I started using it on my mixes on Power 92. Use it in the club. The first person that used it was Keenan Allen last year from the Chicago Bears. He used that, and it got a big response on social media. It went viral. And my guy Tremaine Edmonds, he picked it up this year. He just ran with it.
And it's been up ever since. DJ Ferris has since trademarked both phrases and is developing a merchandise line, including a collaboration with designer Don C.
Coming up, we're also checking in with some former Bears legends ahead of the big game.
We'll tell you how they're using their talents off the field to give back to local high schoolers.
The Chicago Wolves take on the Texas Stars.
If you're trying to go to the game tomorrow, tickets are looking a little cheaper than they were earlier this week. For 2 tickets, the least expensive ones we found on Ticketmaster are about $321 a piece. Those are in the $300 level. On StubHub, 2 tickets in the same area are going for a little under $360 each. There are, of course, closer seats. Those are going to cost anywhere from $600 to more than $1,000. Well, obviously, the Chicago Bears have had a successful season, but for many players, it's about finding success on and off the field. Jake Hamilton hung out with some former players making a big difference in the community.
That's right, guys. Just about every school in the area is getting ready to bear down this weekend, but there are a couple that are feeling Bears fever just a little more than everyone else, and it's because they are led by some of the greatest Bears of all time. Bears legend, former player, Jason McKee, fullback. Now, it's so funny. I was talking with Jason earlier, and I used the term Bears legend. He said, just a fullback, just a fullback. I said, you cannot put just and fullback in the same sentence. First of all, thank you for taking the time, man. Good to see you. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Thanks for coming. You know, another great opportunity for the Bears, obviously facing the Packers on Saturday. A Saturday night game in front of a live audience. You know, the nation will be watching. Another opportunity for the Bears to get a victory and move on in the playoffs.
Talk to me about some of the lessons that you learned on that field that you're now able to pass down to the next generation.
Yeah, you know, playing football at the highest level really teaches you how to be a man, how to be a pro. You've got to make a lot of sacrifice, and that's some things that myself and my staff are trying to implement in these kids, right? To be great, you got to make a lot of sacrifices, right? And if you want to be great, you can't be average, so you can't do what's required. You got to do more than what's required. So, and that's on and off the field. And the good thing is that we have a lot of high character individuals who are good young men who happen to be good football players, and us as a staff, we're trying to implement something in their lives that they can take with them for the rest of their lives, and that's bigger than just us developing them into being good football players.
Robbie Gould joins us this morning, head football coach here at St. Vitus. First of all, dude, an honor. Thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate it.
Okay, talk a little bit about so many lessons you learned over the course of your career on the field. What are some of the most important lessons that you learned that you thought it was important to kind of pass on to the next generation of players?
Yeah, when I decided that I wasn't going to play football anymore, I was kind of helping coach a little bit. I had a friend of mine ask me, do you want to get into this kind of full time? And the biggest thing for me getting into high school football is to help young kids learn the attributes that you need. If you want to go play football in college, awesome. And if not, everything that we're trying to instill in our kids is discipline, hard work, accountability. First of all, being an awesome academic person. Second, being a great human being. And then third, we can think you can be a great athlete. So to me, it's just awesome to be able to continue to develop the game in the area. But more importantly, it's fun to be around groups of kids who are truly like making a difference, not only like in our community, but just in the general community in which they live in or they're a part of. That's what I hope these kids do.
Well, we have a perfect example of someone who's doing just that. Shane, you just received Shane is maybe the most humble person I've ever met, and I told him, dude, on TV, it's not the time for humility. Brag about the award that you just received.
I just won the Arlington Heights Heart of Gold Award, which in this community is a very big honor for us.
Really quick, guys, before we go, we're getting the hard wrap. I got to ask really quick, Bears predictions.
I think it's going to be an awesome game. You got 4 unbelievable coordinators. The Packers, unfortunately, have been pretty banged up recently. If the Bears can run the football, I like the Bears winning by 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
But I do think the new rivalry with Ben and LaFleur is going to be a lot of fun to watch for years to come.
Final score?
I'm not biased, but I'm going to have to say 90-0 Bears.
That sounds, you know what? I think that's good. I think that's a good call. All right, guys, you've heard it, but I'm going to say it again. Bears, Packers, Saturday night, right here on Fox 32. You don't want to miss it as we toss it back to you guys in the studio.
So Chicago hasn't seen a January football game in a minute, and winter just caught an audible with snow dropping tomorrow. Mark will have the full play-by-play after the break.
And the NFL's oldest rivalry takes on a whole new level of excitement. Up next in sports, the best of what the Bears have said all week about tomorrow night's showdown with the Packers. And some more good news. Connor Bedard returns tonight. Hear from Bedard as he gets set to take the ice for the first time in a month.
Fox Local.
I'm looking at that clock, Mark, and I'm thinking it is dwindling down to the weekend for a lot of us. But we're going to have a little snow tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't stick around too long.
You know, I don't think the snow is going to be a big deal. It's just going to be a little bit of an insult compared to, you know, the 60 degrees we had at midnight.
Yeah.
You know, because the snow, if we see, well, we will see some snow, but if we see accumulation, it'll probably be about an inch or so. And, you know, you could probably build a little snowman, but that's about it.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
But we've got wind tomorrow. The winds are going to be gusting at times up to 25 and 30 miles per hour. So the rain changes over to some slushy snow early tomorrow morning. And you can see with these temperatures here, these are the overnight low temperatures. We're pretty much at the freezing mark. So, and even above the freezing mark for overnight lows. So any slushy snow that comes down, probably not long for this world. Now, these are the daytime highs for tomorrow. We go from 32, 33, and then we push up to about 35, 36, maybe some 37s. So I'm not really expecting much of any accumulation. If we see any of that, it'll be maybe on some grassy areas. But with temperatures in the 30s and with some gusty winds and with some snow showers smacking you in the face, it's going to feel a little bit like January. Yeah, we did hit 60 degrees today. It was about a minute past midnight. We were warm early this morning. In fact, we're not really all that bad right now. We're still holding on to 43 degrees. Not too shabby. That's 11 degrees above the normal daytime high. Southwest winds now at 5 miles per hour, and those 40s are going to go away for the rest of the weekend. But they will be back Monday and Tuesday. Satellite and radar, we are clear, well, we're clear of precipitation. We have cloud cover at the moment. Temperatures 43 at the big airport, 44 degrees at Midway, 42 along the lakeshore, some 30s to our north and to our northwest. Other than that, we're in the 40s still. So those temperatures slowly dropping down overnight tonight to what would normally be our daytime highs. So we got that going for us. Here's where we go over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, 35 degrees. Again, some snow showers, mostly in the morning. But at game time tomorrow night, there's another little leg of some precip that slides down from Wisconsin. Wisconsin's throwing a little snow at us tomorrow during the game. So about a 40-45% chance of some snow showers during the game tomorrow night. 32, we see some sunshine, especially by the afternoon on Sunday. More sunshine on Monday. Monday actually looks halfway decent at 41 degrees. So here's Futurecast. We're quiet overnight tonight. Here comes some precip, first in the form of a little light rain and then some sloppy, wet snow, very light. That goes away. And then let's look at the timestamp here. This is coming up on 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're quiet, we're dry, and then as we go towards the evening, another little pocket swirls down with an additional shot of some snow showers. Again, this puts us about the time that we see kickoff into the second and third quarter. Certainly a possibility. So tonight, overnight low temperatures falling down to around 32. Tomorrow, our daytime high is up to 35. I think the big deal will be tomorrow will be the winds out of the west, blowing from sideline to sideline, gusts up to 30 miles per hour, maybe a little more difficult to hit those uprights. We've got temperatures of 41 on Monday. We're still in the 40s on Tuesday. We're back a couple of degrees above normal on Wednesday. Thursday, the only day really below normal, even then only about 3 or 4 degrees, and we're back in the 30s as we head towards the weekend as well.
We've waited 5 years to see the Bears back in the playoffs. Now, we'll only have to wait one more day.
Yeah, one more day. The Bears have a lot on their minds, too. Cassie Carlson is here with more. We got to pull out a win tomorrow.
I mean, right? The city of Chicago needs it. The Bears need it. And, hey, maybe they could go on a playoff run. Ben Johnson said they're preparing for 5 more weeks. It's the oldest rivalry in pro football since 1921. It's escalated a year ago when new head coach Ben Johnson took a shot at Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, saying he likes to beat him twice a year, then had 2 instant classics in a span of 3 weeks. And tomorrow night here on Fox Chicago, only the 3rd ever playoff matchup between both teams. Here's Bears-Packers, the next chapter, in their own words.
This was the vision from the beginning, was to have some home playoff games. Was really excited about that opportunity and to see that come to light here this year.
Usually packing the cars up, sending everything back home to home base and getting ready for off season. So it feels good preparing for the postseason right now.
We had a really good season, division wins, all that other stuff, but everything is 0-0 now. We're mentally prepared to play for 5 more weeks.
You're not prepared to play the next 5 weeks. If you're thinking about anything else, thinking about booking a flight, vacations, or anything.
going into this game and after this game, every player should be not only physically exhausted, but mentally exhausted as well.
I think in those moments,
go all out this game.
All the big games, same thing. I think the mindset of it just changes a little bit because you know you don't have to get it.
We don't have anything to hold back. You know what I mean? We don't have a guarantee next week. It's really do or die.
They always tripping. There's always something going on somewhere. You love football and it's competitive going to your body. You love playing this type of game. Fans make it better.
It's going to be a special atmosphere. It almost feels like we've played these guys like 5 or 6 times here in the past month, but I think that'll just make the atmosphere and the battle more competitive.
The city, it deserves a winner. It deserves a team that's going to be able to make this run.
I think Chicago is just a city that's deeply rooted in history, which is awesome. It's one of the things that's such a special place. But that being said, we want to live our own history here.
We're all looking forward to this playoff game. Try to do what we can to try to make this city proud.
You really have felt this city come alive over the course of the season. That's something that I'm grateful for. So keep a good thing going.
The Bears conversation continues on a special 1-hour playoff preview edition of Chicago Sports Tonight. Luke Canellis, Tina Nguyen, and I will be joined by the Score's David Haw, plus a view from the Packers sideline with Lily Zhao of Fox 6 Milwaukee and Westwood One's Nick Costas will help you make some money on the game this weekend. That's all coming up at 6 and 9:30 right here on Fox Chicago. And of course, Fox Chicago is your destination for the Bears and Packers Saturday. Our coverage begins with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. NFL doubleheader begins at 3:30. And no matter what happens with the Rams and Panthers, we'll bring you kickoff of Bears and Packers at 7, and then stay with us after the game for full reaction and analysis. Well, the Blackhawks hosting the Capitals tonight, and Connor Bedard is set to return to the lineup for the first time since injuring his shoulder a month ago. Bedard was having a career year, 44 points in 31 games, and his return comes at a good time for the Hawks, who have won a season-high 4 straight games.
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously, it's not fun kind of waiting and not being able to play, so it's been great. You know, obviously, since Christmas break, I think you look at the standings and you lose a couple games and everyone thinks you suck, and then you win a couple and you're back in the playoff race. So it's an exciting time, and you know, for us just to keep that rolling.
And the Blackhawks say tonight's game at the United Center will not be affected by the condensation and humidity that caused last night's Bulls game to be postponed. Elsewhere, Indiana with their latest biggest game ever as they face Oregon in the Peach Bowl. Winner takes on Miami for the national championship. Tia and Terrence?
All right, Cassie, thank you so much. All right, well, Mark has one final check of the forecast when we come right back.
Fox 30.
right, everybody's eyeing tomorrow's forecast, Mark, for the Bears.
You know, and it is kind of a wild one in a way. I mean, okay, 32, not too bad for January. That's our high temperature tomorrow. 32, 33, 34. About average, a couple of degrees above average. We'll have a couple snow showers, but it's not going to be real heavy snow, just enough to smack you in the face, right, a little bit. Because we've got winds that'll be around 20, 25, 30 miles per hour. So add all those three things together, and it kind of takes what looks like on the surface to be pretty decent January weather and turns it into a fun football weather game.
A lot of people need a good slap in the face.
Yeah, they do.
Myself. Thanks for joining us at 5.
And now you can stream us on your smart TV with the Fox Local. Go Bears!
We're on all the streaming platforms.
Chicago Sports Tonight is next.
Fox 30.